Imagine a world where parents can choose the traits of their children: intelligence, athleticism, eye color, even predisposition to certain talents. A world where hereditary diseases are eradicated before birth, and human beings are designed rather than born. This is not the stuff of science fiction anymore, but a reality that is creeping closer every day thanks to a groundbreaking technology known as CRISPR. But as we stand on the brink of this genetic revolution, one question looms large. Just because we can, does it mean we should? The promise of CRISPR. A new era of possibilities. CRISPR, or clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, is a tool that has revolutionized the field of genetics. It allows scientists to precisely cut and edit DNA, the blueprint of life, with unprecedented accuracy. The implications of this technology are staggering. For the first time in history, we have the power to rewrite the genetic code, to fix genetic defects that cause diseases, and to potentially enhance the human condition in ways previously unimaginable. The promise of CRISPR is enormous. In the medical field, it could lead to cures for genetic disorders like cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, and Huntington's disease. It could eliminate the risk of inherited conditions and extend the human lifespan by combating the root causes of aging at the genetic level. Imagine a future where diseases that have plagued humanity for centuries are nothing more than a distant memory. But with such power comes profound ethical dilemmas. As we unlock the secrets of our DNA, we are also opening Pandora's box. What are the consequences of tampering with the very fabric of life? And perhaps more importantly, who gets to decide what is acceptable and what is not? The birth of designer babies, a brave new world. The concept of designer babies has long been a staple of dystopian fiction, but with CRISPR, it is rapidly becoming a potential reality. The idea is simple. By editing the genes of an embryo, parents could theoretically select for certain traits, such as height, intelligence, or eye color, or against others like a predisposition to certain diseases. On the surface, this might seem like a dream come true. Who wouldn't want their child to be free of genetic disorders, or to have the best possible start in life? But when we begin to dig deeper, the ethical implications become far more complex and troubling. Consider the case of He Jiankui, the Chinese scientist who in 2018 claimed to have created the world's first genetically edited babies. The outcry was immediate and global. While he argued that his work was intended to protect the twins from HIV, critics pointed out the potential dangers of such experimentation. The long-term effects of gene editing are still largely unknown, and the potential for unintended consequences is vast. What if the edited genes lead to unforeseen health problems down the line? What if the technology is used not for therapeutic purposes, but for enhancement, creating a class of genetically superior humans? The concept of designer babies brings us face to face with some of the most challenging ethical questions of our time. At what point does the pursuit of a better life for our children cross the line into playing God? And who gets to decide what traits are desirable and what are not? The ethical dilemma. Playing God or saving lives? The ethical dilemmas surrounding CRISPR and gene editing are deeply intertwined with our notions of morality, human identity, and the nature of life itself. One of the most significant concerns is the potential for a slippery slope. Once we start editing genes for one purpose, where do we stop? Supporters of gene editing argue that if we have the ability to prevent suffering, we have a moral obligation to do so. If a couple is at high risk of passing on a debilitating genetic disorder, shouldn't they be allowed to use CRISPR to ensure their child is born healthy? In this context, gene editing could be seen as an extension of existing medical practices like IVF or prenatal screening. But the line between therapy and enhancement is thin and easily blurred. If we start by editing genes to prevent disease, what happens when we begin editing for traits like intelligence, physical appearance, or even personality? This raises the specter of eugenics, the discredited belief in improving the human race through selective breeding, but with a modern twist. Another significant concern is equity. CRISPR technology is expensive, and it's likely that access to it will be limited to the wealthy, at least initially. This could exacerbate existing social inequalities, creating a genetic underclass and a genetically enhanced elite. The idea of a future where the rich can literally buy a better life for their children while the poor are left behind is deeply unsettling. Moreover, there is the question of consent. The individuals most affected by gene editing, future generations, have no say in the matter. By editing an embryo's genes, we are making irreversible decisions for a person who cannot consent, potentially altering their entire life in ways that are still unpredictable. The unknowns. What are the risks? While the potential benefits of CRISPR are enormous, so too are the risks. The technology is still in its infancy, and we are far from fully understanding the complexities of the human genome. Editing one gene can have cascading effects throughout the genome, leading to unintended consequences that could be harmful or even catastrophic. For example, CRISPR is not perfect. It can sometimes edit the wrong part of the genome or cause off-target effects, where unintended genes are altered. These mistakes could potentially introduce new genetic disorders or other health issues that could be passed down to future generations. Furthermore, the long-term effects of gene editing are unknown. What might seem like a beneficial change today could have unforeseen consequences decades or even centuries down the line. We are tampering with the evolutionary process, which has been shaped over millions of years, and the full implications of this are still beyond our comprehension. The unknowns are perhaps the most frightening aspect of CRISPR and gene editing. We are venturing into uncharted territory, and the potential for unintended consequences is immense. Are we ready to take that risk? And if something goes wrong, can we ever put the genie back in the bottle? The global response. Regulation and moratoriums. In response to the ethical and scientific concerns raised by CRISPR, there has been a global call for regulation and oversight. Some countries, like China, have pushed ahead with gene editing research, while others, like the United States and Europe, have taken a more cautious approach, implementing strict regulations and moratoriums on human germline editing. The international community is grappling with how to balance the potential benefits of gene editing with the need to prevent misuse. The World Health Organization and other global bodies have called for a moratorium on heritable gene editing until a broad societal consensus can be reached. But reaching that consensus is easier said than done, given the profound ethical, cultural, and religious differences that exist around the world. At the heart of the debate is a fundamental question. Who has the right to make decisions about the future of humanity? Should gene editing be a matter of personal choice, or should it be subject to collective oversight and control? And how do we ensure that the technology is used for the common good, rather than for personal or commercial gain? The call to action. Shaping the future of humanity. The future of CRISPR and gene editing is still unwritten, and the decisions we make today will shape the world for generations to come. This is not just a scientific issue, it is a moral and societal one that demands input from all corners of society. We must engage in a global conversation about the ethical implications of gene editing. Scientists, ethicists, policymakers, religious leaders, and the public must come together to discuss and debate the future of this powerful technology. This is not a decision that should be left to a few. It is a matter that concerns all of humanity. Public awareness and education are crucial. People need to understand what CRISPR is, what it can do, and what the potential risks are. This knowledge will empower individuals to make informed decisions and to participate in the debate about the future of gene editing. We must also ensure that the development and application of CRISPR technology are guided by ethical principles. This includes respect for human dignity, protection of vulnerable populations, and consideration of the long-term consequences of our actions. We must be cautious, deliberate, and thoughtful in how we approach this new frontier. Finally, we must recognize that the choices we make today will have a profound impact on future generations. We have a responsibility to ensure that the benefits of gene editing are shared equitably and that the technology is used to promote the well-being of all people, not just a privileged few. Conclusion: the power to shape our destiny. CRISPR and gene editing have given us the power to shape the future of humanity in ways that were once unimaginable. But with this power comes a profound responsibility. We are standing at a crossroads, and the path we choose will determine the kind of world we leave behind for future generations. The ethical dilemmas surrounding CRISPR are complex and challenging, but they are not insurmountable. By engaging in open, honest, and inclusive dialogue, we can navigate these challenges and ensure that gene editing is used in ways that are ethical, just, and beneficial to all. The future is in our hands. Will we use the power of CRISPR to create a better world, or will we let it become a tool for division and inequality? The choice is ours, and the time to act is now. Will you join the conversation, or will you let others decide the future of humanity? The decision is yours. If you find this video interesting, please like, comment, and share with your friends, family, and relatives who may find this fascinating. Please subscribe for more such interesting content. Thanks for watching.